Let me start by asking a deeply personal question. What is it that you desire? Now let me destroy your human rights, your privacy, your freedom to express yourself. I'll take that away. What now?
It's no longer the era of industry. We're in a technological era fundamentally. The fascists, they have the resources, but we have imagination. We are making the tools to take back our sovereignty. When we make a giant fuck you to the system, it's breaking that stranglehold on the tools of power that's used against us. The fascists always use the narrative of we are the white knights in shining armor protecting against the threats. We come here and we move out the dark with pure whiteness. That's a false narrative because there is corruption in those castles. The real base of power lies with us. We are the darkness.
Anarchism, at its heart, is the desire for freedom. Our goal is to one day live in a stateless society that is self-governed. If you're an anarchist and you haven't seen the documentary called Deep Web, what the hell have you been doing all this time? I highly recommend you watch it. It tells the story of a young man named Ross Ulbricht, who was allegedly running a web service that facilitated the sale of illegal drugs. Straddling on the deepest trenches of the internet called the Deep Web was an online market called Silk Road. But Silk Road was by no means just an online illegal drugs market.
So from that point on, that felt like I had missed the story and I wanted the next big story on the Silk Road. But I was also just fascinated with the community that was being created there. eBay doesn't have that kind of user community. This was like a really tight-knit movement of people. It was a fascinating thing just to lurk around in.
The Silk Road forums were a better community than I've ever seen in real life. There were many threads that had great political and philosophical discussions. Sure, there were illegal things going on, but this was a real community of like-minded people.
The Silk Road didn't appear to have a single leader. There were the regular posts from the system's administrator, but otherwise the service appeared to be primarily community-run.
Despite how the American media has twisted its story, Silk Road was built with positive intentions. The ineffective war on drugs had killed thousands in the US, but Silk Road took it out of their alleys and their dangerous neighborhoods and brought it online, where they made it a safer business transaction, complete with a review process for drug dealers. I want to share a parallel situation that's going on in my home country in the Philippines. Ever since our President Rodrigo Duterte took office, we've had a significant change in our drug policy. He wanted to fight fire with fire, as the drug syndicates were already causing a lot of deaths in the country, so he took things into his own hands and ordered the neutralization of illegal drug personalities nationwide. When Duterte was running for president, he wasn't my number one choice, but I did support him. I liked his no-bullshit approach to his political campaign. At that time, he promised to utterly end the drug infestation of our country by forced bloodshed. I later realized that his ambition was unfortunately unattainable, and his methods too extreme. As it turns out, deliberate assassination of drug dealers and users only had short-term effects. Eventually, others will fill the gap in the market and take their place. With that in mind, the drug war can never end with just killing people. It's been 2 years and 7 months since Duterte's presidency, and to this day, the killings haven't stopped. The bodies are piling up, and the drugs, they're still here. In fact, probably more than ever. So maybe Silk Road wasn't such a bad idea. Maybe we need it here to stop the killings and drug-related deaths. Maybe open source technology is the future of our civilization's governance.
In the fall of 2014, as Ross was preparing for his trial, a group of hackers, programmers, and activists met in a squat in the center of London. This gathering represented the next wave of the darknet, developing new and evolved cryptographic tools that would not be so easily shut down.
Open source is incredibly powerful. Open source is responsible for WikiLeaks, Wikipedia, Linux, which runs all of our infrastructure, for Firefox, for BitTorrent, for Bitcoin, for all of these, for encryption, for all of these real uses of tech, not the yuppie Angry Birds or silly apps that these people make, you know? Open source is also an example of how we can organize economically, an example for the future, to build the products we need without needing proprietary industry, without needing the points of control, without needing masters and slaves and babysitters.
The Silk Road's success was largely due to an innovative combination of Tor and Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a technology that uses cryptographic code to create digital currency. The sender transmits their Bitcoin code through a ledger called the blockchain to arrive at the recipient. Bitcoin is not perfectly anonymous, but if used carefully, it facilitates online purchases without revealing identity. Bitcoin was an ideal currency for the Silk Road because it allows for anonymity and is outside the control of banks and governments.
Bitcoin is the currency of the internet. It was built solely for the purpose of severing our bonds from the financial overlords of state. But now it could be our gateway to a free society. It may start out as money or store of value, but what it could be is up to us. We could embed it deeply in our community, enough to remove the unnecessary abuses of human rights. Governments tell us what we should do or not do, as if they know us better than we know ourselves. They strip us from our creative freedom, from our freedom to express ourselves. We are enslaved by the system while they pretend they are serving us. This has to stop at some point, and that's our mission. Bitcoin is doing really well today. Its ongoing development is being run by some of the best cryptographers in the world, as well as hundreds of independent developers. And we have backup cryptocurrencies in the unlikely event that Bitcoin fails. We are not taking anything lightly. Don't listen to what the media says. Pay more attention to the community directly involved in this project, and you will see that we are a force to be reckoned with. This is not about money anymore. This is about our fundamental human right, the right of privacy and the right of freedom. If you're an anarchist or just an ordinary internet citizen, I ask you to consider joining us in our goal to decentralize the world. No, I'm not saying Bitcoin will save us. Bitcoin is a tool. Only we can save ourselves. That's why I'm asking you, as a citizen of the internet, to join us in our revolution and create a better future together.